Hey, Jassel here. Lots of people have asked me how I edit my photos for my Instagram page. So today I'm going to talk about how you can turn this photo into this. My process isn't something special, and honestly, it's probably the most basic way to edit a photo. One thing to note too is that I do shoot my photos in RAW files because it captures more details. You can shoot RAW photos on either your phone or your camera. The program that I use to edit my photos is called Lightroom CC. I really like this program because I think it's really simple to use. Alright, the first step is importing your photos into Lightroom. I use an iPad Pro and an Apple Pencil to edit my photos because it's just easier to navigate around the app. Also, I feel like the mobile version of Lightroom is faster than the PC version. Every time I edit a photo on my computer, it sounds like my computer is always gasping for air. Okay, let's open up the Lightroom app and start editing. First thing I adjust is the curve line. What I like to do is to make my photos a little brighter. It's just a personal preference of mine. And then I really like to pull down the point on the top right and pull up the point on the bottom left. It gives it a little bit of a faded look. Then I'll start adjusting exposure. Adjusting the exposure just a tiny bit to the right because my photo is already a little bright. Then for contrast, I like contrast on my photos. This is a personal preference of mine, so it's going to the right. Highlights, I like to adjust the highlights to the left because sometimes part of my photos are blown out. And for shadows, I adjust it to the left as well because I like the darker areas of these photos to be a little bit darker. I'm not really adjusting the whites, but I am going to adjust the blacks towards the left because it makes the photo looks a little bit more contrasty in my opinion. Okay, the next thing I'll be adjusting is the color, starting with the temperature. I like my photos to be on the cooler side of the spectrum. Then I like my tint to be more red. For vibrance, I like to add just a tiny bit just for fun. I don't adjust the saturation here. The way I like to adjust my saturation is by picking each individual colors. So I would select color mix. This is where you can adjust hue, saturation, and luminance. The first color I adjust is the blue. For blue, what I really like to do is to pull the hue towards the left because it gives it more of a teal color. Then the saturation towards the right to make it more obvious. I don't really touch the luminance that much, but sometimes I do just to make the blues a little brighter. And then I usually adjust the other colors to the way I think would look good on the photo. Just play around with the colors. For effects, there are only two things I really like to adjust: texture and clarity. The general rule of thumb for me is to add 10 on texture and 15 on clarity. This is also personal preference and you can play around with your photos. The next thing I really like to use is the selective tool because this is where you can select any part of the photo and make some big changes. In this case, I'll be selecting the latte art. I like to adjust the feather at 20 and flow at 100 so that everything will be evenly masked. The reason why I do this is because I really want to highlight the coffee. I want the audience to look at the photo and be drawn to the coffee and not anything else. So for this part, I like to make it a little brighter by adjusting the exposure up, then saturation up as well. Texture and clarity will also be up. And there it is. This is how I edit my photo. Now I'm ready to export this photo. How I edit my photos isn't special like I said at the beginning of this video. The things I showed you on this video are the things I learned from YouTube. I really learned a lot just by watching others edit their photos, and I'm so grateful that there's a platform like YouTube where you and I can learn these kinds of things. I hope you learned something today. If you did, please let me know in the comments below. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video and I hope you have a wonderful day.